Welcome to the Art of Listening to Your Body podcast. My name is Jin Ong and I'm your host. I practice as an osteopath and psychosomatic therapist and am fascinated by the mind-body connection and how your physical body is a manifestation of your emotional state. I help people get unstuck from their chronic pain and live the life they want, grounded in values and driven by purpose. My aim is to create awareness to the underlying emotions behind pain, injury, and disease in the body. Join me to learn more about the story of your body, what different issues may indicate, how to release emotions so that you can prevent problems, as well as inspiring pain story interviews. When it comes to dealing with fears, phobias, and anxiety, to a degree, I'm interested in what the fear, phobia, or anxiety is about. But I often find that these issues have manifested because someone's emotional cup is just too full. So when I say that, I mean that they've had a lot of emotion that's wanted to be expressed, released, or discharged from different events and experiences in their life, but perhaps they didn't know how to express their emotions, or it was too inconvenient for them, so it was easier for them to suppress. And over time, more emotions that get suppressed start to build up, and we can compensate for it until we can't anymore. And this is where you can get all sorts of symptoms in the body, but one of them could be that anxiety starts to trigger. It's irrational anxiety, you don't know why it's come about, or maybe you start to develop weird phobias or just be in a state of fear where you can't move forwards and you can't quite identify what it's about. Now, I notice that a lot of people go into coping mechanisms. So this could be things like meditation, positive affirmations, maybe it's things like goal setting, which I think all of these are really valuable exercises, but they can still take away from what the root issue is. And they're not always sustainable practices. I think they're great if you can create a really good habit, but sometimes when your body is just overwhelmed, your emotional system is overwhelmed, doing things like meditation and positive affirmations is just another thing to add to your list, when actually you need to take the stress away and deal with the root. So again, this is where I say it's interesting to hear about what the anxiety or fear might be about, but I don't focus so much on what that fear and anxiety is about. I just go through the emotional history that someone has experienced and pick up on where they might be holding emotion. So this is when we might be talking about a certain event in their life and I see they start to flush in the face, or maybe they start to tear up or fidget a little bit. That lets me know that there's a reaction there and maybe it's something uncomfortable for them and this is why their body is reacting. So I talk about processing versus coping with your emotions. And so the processing is about taking you back in your mind to that event in your life, as long as it's not too traumatic, and going back and expressing all the things that you never had an opportunity to maybe verbally say or physically do. And I talked a little bit about this in a previous podcast, which was all about verbal dialogue. So it's not enough to just think about the event in your life. I think there's so much power to actually speaking out loud and imagining that you're speaking to the person that you might have an issue with. Now, it could be someone else, but the issue could actually have been with yourself. So you might actually need to go back and talk to yourself. Now, when people start to process their emotions, there's all sorts of amazing reactions that can happen. One of the most common ones is that people just burst into tears and they sob uncontrollably, but they feel these different sensations in their body. And what's really interesting is a lot of the time after they've done this, which might be after 1 or 2 sessions, they find that their anxiety has just quietened down. It's not as easily triggered, or maybe that fear isn't as prevalent anymore, or they no longer have that phobia. And we haven't actually focused on that specific issue. All we've done is gone back, processed some emotions that never got a chance to be expressed, that are slowly building up in the body, and the cup is getting too full. So then you add another little stress into your body and everything just spills out or spills over. Or some people say it's like you hit that emergency release button and you just have an explosion of emotion, which in this case manifests as the anxiety, fear, or phobia. So if you find that you have been doing a million different things and trying out all sorts of new skills and techniques or coping mechanisms and they're not working for you, have a think about your emotional history. Has there been anything that sticks in your mind? Any memories that keep on resurfacing? And maybe you need a little bit of help to go back and actually work through these. And as I said, thinking about it isn't enough. It's the verbalization process that's really powerful to help you shift and help you move through and process what you never had an opportunity to do. Thanks for learning with me on the Art of Listening to Your Body podcast. If you like what you've heard, I would love if you could rate, review, and share with your friends. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. My handle is The Art of Listening to Your Body. You can join my free Facebook group where I go live regularly to teach you about different conditions and the deeper underlying emotions at play.